Okay, so hey there, how's it going, everyone? And welcome to your Big O Season 8 Division 4B preview. I'm your usual host here, Tommo, and I'm being joined by a new partner in crime this season. A big welcome to Cynergy. How's it going?
Thanks, Tommo. Yeah, I'm doing all right. How are you doing?
Yeah, I'm great, as always. Super excited for all the games in the new season.
Yeah, it's already been a good start, to be honest, and I myself am looking forward to it too.
Yeah, we've had a few teams that have already managed to get out and get their games in, which is surprising. I need to tap my finger and point at you a little bit and go, you guys, yes, you got your games in, but you didn't post when you were playing in the scheduling thread, which means we couldn't guarantee we had casters and things for it, and we would have did our best if we knew. But
Oh, everyone's just so keen to get in and play, Tommo.
it's there. So yeah, what we're gonna do today is we're gonna go through all the teams because it's a season preview, but we're gonna do it kind of in the style of how I want the recaps to look at, just so that I can show this to the other sports reporters and they'll get a rough idea of just what we're aiming for. So, Synergy, have you got the teams and things up yet?
Yeah, I'm ready to go. Happy to talk about Ziggy's Argonauts if you like.
Yep. So the first game at the top of the list is Ziggy's Ziggonauts versus Lactose Intolerance. Just looking at the teams first, yeah, I'll let you go ahead and talk about Ziggy's Ziggonauts whenever I can find them.
Yeah,
There we go.
Ch Chorse versus Skaven. I'm sure Ziggy's kind of happy. I mean, the tackle on the Chorse should do well, and having a look at last season, I believe Ziggy was also rolling Chaos Dwarves, so he's got the experience. So I'm sure he's going to do well. Um, Obviously, we're only got TV 1000 teams here, so it's nothing too special. But he seems to have gone with the typical 6 blockers and 14 rerolls. Actually, that's quite high. He's only got the one Bull Centaur as well. Looks like he's gone with a little bit of a what is it? He's gone. He's gone for Space Captain's theme by the look of it.
Yeah, I've just finished watching, all 7 seasons of what was it, Star Trek Deep Space Nine. So there's some names on there that I'm particularly um, what's the word I'm looking for here?
Yeah, quite familiar for you.
Familiar. Yes, we'll go with familiar. I'm quite familiar with. As you mentioned, yeah, he was in Big O Division 3 last season as another Chaos Dwarf team. Yeah, it was quite difficult to beat. The full
Yeah,
rerolls, though, yeah, like you mentioned, he seems to be going for a little bit of consistency rather than team strength. Um, would you go with this build, or would you kind of look more at going like 2 rerolls with the bull?
I think I'd probably go with the two bulls. I've having played against Chaos Dwarfs last season as Amazons. The two bulls is just if they're played well. I mean, they're very tough to break through. And the only thing I can imagine is maybe he had trouble last season, maybe picking up the ball with the bulls, and wants to go with a high reroll build. Um,
Yeah,
I'm not sure, but it's like we say, it's the start of the season. He can. I assume the very first thing he's going to purchase will be the Apo into the second Bull Centaur.
yeah, I 100% agree, totally. I'm the same as you as well. Like I'd be looking at the 2 bulls with the 2 rerolls, definitely. But you know, there's a lot of. In fact, is there? I've just had a mental blank of what the division kind of looks like here. Um,
Yeah, I mean, there's a few teams that he's going to do very well against. I think Chorfs are going to be sitting fairly well in this league versus the couple of elves, versus Skaven, versus lizards, versus what else? I thought there was then the Amazons as well.
yeah, But yeah, Chorfs are a team that they're just good at every single TV. They're super efficient. Like you bomb a whole bunch of God and Mighty Blow and stuff on them, and considering like the TV that you can purchase all of these skills at, they're just super super good.
Yeah. Shall we move on to his opponent, Lactose Intolerance?
Yeah, we can do that. As soon as you mentioned there, guys, like these are all fresh teams completely. They haven't even been through the Greenhorn. So while we're doing the previews, we normally like to talk about kind of the long histories and things of the teams, but these teams really don't have any kind of history behind them at all. But the next team we're going to be looking at, their opponents in week 1 is Lactose Intolerance, which is a Skaven team with 2 Storm Vermin, a Rat Ogre, 3 Gutter Runners, and 5 Linemen. They have 3 team rerolls, no Apothecary, and they're bang on TV 1000. The Rat Ogre is like the big contentious pick that we see here. Like some Skaven coaches swear by them, some say they're a waste of time. I feel like in ReBBL, most people think they're more a waste of time than something to actually, put skills into. Yet at the same time, anyone that was watching the All-Star Shootout thing would see that Jerry was a team captain there, who was, a Rat Ogre. Now, I'm a little disappointed he hasn't called the Rat Ogre Full Metal, as seems to be, the whole meta jokes and everything going around ReBBL at the minute. But, I think that this is a team where, if he blitzes with the Rat Ogre and the Rat Ogre actually decides to kill stuff, he could end up doing quite well.
Yeah, he's certainly gone for an interesting build. And I guess he's called his Rat Ogre Emmental. It's got the letters of metal in there. It's kind of close, right?
Yeah, sort of metal. Metal cheese, there we go.
Yeah, it looks like he's gone for a full cheese-related team here, and for some reason starting with the letter E.
Yeah, it's like M mats are mental. M mental. Huh. Yeah, never mind.
Yeah, I guess I don't think we've seen Sasanique before. New to the ReBBL, welcome. Hopefully he's obviously he's going for a slightly more aggressive build, so let's hope it works out for him.
Yeah, totally. So now that we've looked at the 2 teams, who would you give the matchup to, and how do you see the game going?
I can't go past the Chorfs. They've got the tools to stop the gutter runners. The tackle is tough. TV 1000 could go either way. But as you said, Chorfs at any TV are very strong.
Yeah, I totally agree with you for this one as well. I look at the Skaven team, and whenever you get a fresh Skaven team, you're always building for the future. You can see so much potential in them. But we're looking at here at who can win this game like right now. And for me, I don't think you can look past the Chorfs here. They're getting blocks with block everywhere. They have tackle, so that if gutter runners make the mistake of being in range, they're going to be able to knock them down. And and Captain Picard at the end there, can act as like a safety. And so if anyone does get past, we're still going to be getting 2 dice on them. 3 dice with 1 assist onto gutter runners. So yeah, I would tend to agree that I think this is a little bit of a mismatch, and I think that the Chorfs are just going to be way too consistent for the Skaven team.
Yeah, unless Sasa can pull some gutter runner craziness, which is always possible with movement 9. It probably will end up maybe 2-1 Chorfs.
Yep, I could go with that. It's very hard to stop, Skaven from scoring at least once, so I think, 2-1's definitely a fair result there. So guys, just while we're on the topic of this, there's going to be a big old tipping competition that's run kind of every year on Monkey Chunks, does it? On like the Face Your Fears website. So what we're going to be doing is we're going to be having like a sports reporters kind of tips thing, just to see how we can do against pretty much everyone else. So this is why we're kind of like going through all the matchups and saying who we think we're going to win, because this is our tips of who we think are going to win the games. Like this week. We should. Okay, so the second matchup is Never Swapping versus Sodai Senlin. Never Swapping
Yes.
is
Julian's
Julian's
necromantic. And Sodai Sandlin is another new coach. I think he might be from Thailand or somewhere in that area. And he's playing Amazons.
Yeah, so do you want to have a talk about Never Swapping first?
Oh, I'll let you do Never Swapping, shall we? And I'll cover the Amazons, considering I played them last season.
Okay, sure. So Never Swapping, yep, we have a Necro team here. He has the two werewolves that come as standard, which I'm sure will have plus strength or mighty blow on them within a few weeks. Two flesh golems, two whites, and a whole bunch of zombies with two rerolls, 20k in the bank. An interesting thing about this team is that although they're breaking the rule of you can't have players. Oh no, he's changed it.
He has.
I've just seen that. So he did have three players called Never, but it looks like he substituted the E's for threes in various places, so the admins can actually tell the difference between them now.
Yes, there was also two Goners.
Yes.
I was never gonna give you up. He's rickrolling us, Samo. What do you think?
No, I hate that song. Yeah, it's like my brother would just blatantly sing along to it whenever he saw it, just to try and troll the guys that were trolling us and stuff. But I can't stand it. Like someone did a karaoke here. They kind of you can on the karaoke machines in Japan, you can kind of like cut in and interrupt by like just throwing a song on. So we were having one night we're all drunk and someone just kind of cut in with like a Rickroll song. I was standing closest to the machine at the time, and I was like, nope, skip, I can't do it. Just I hate it.
I would have done the same. Totally skipped.
But coming back and talking about the Blood Bowl again, yeah, Julian's a coach that's been around the Big O for a while now. He was back in season 5, which was my first season. He kind of joined Division 3 towards the end of the season, kind of taking up one of the free slots that we had. I think he was playing Dwarfs, but yeah, I'll always remember him because he ended my chances of making playoffs. Yeah, and I was a little bit salty about that because it was like 2 weeks from the end of the season and everyone else had been given buys, and then all of a sudden I had to play this dwarf team with Dark Elves, so I wasn't happy about that. But ever since then, he just seems to have kept on re-rolling teams. I don't think he's ever stuck with one of his teams yet. And this time he's coming back with Necromantic. He's a coach
sounds like you're holding a grudge there, Tomo.
I am a little bit, but nah, not anymore. I made playoffs last season. See, if I'd made playoffs last season, I would have still been thinking if I had 3 more points. But
yeah, and he played Underworld last season and was in my division, and he was doing very well with those Underworld. I personally found him a tough opponent as well. So I imagine he's going to do well this season as well.
Yeah, totally. And as Javis is pointing out, his team is called Never Swapping. So, hopefully he sticks with the team and actually builds it, to be similar to the Necro teams that are over in ReBBL. Like, we kind of don't have many Necro teams in the Big O, so it'd be nice to see one of them moving up the divisions.
Yeah, I'm sure he'll pay the Flesh Golem tax and roll doubles on his werewolves.
Okay, so we'll move on to his opponent in week 1 that we said was Sodai Senlin, the Amazon team.
Another new member to the ReBBL family, rocking Amazons, which is good to see because as I rolled out of them, I don't think anybody else is playing them this season in the Big O. looks like he's gone for 4 blitzers, a catcher, and is that 6 line women?
Yeah.
And 4 rerolls, and he's managed to fit the apothecary in there too. Yeah, it's pretty standard build for Amazons, really. I mean, he could have potentially gone for a thrower catcher combo, but you don't really want to be throwing too much with Agi 3 anyway. I mean, he's going to do great at TV 1000. Amazons are really strong and really annoying to play against for Blodge, and everybody else can pick up Blodge as their first level. So
Yeah.
I don't know. What have you got to add?
Yeah, that was something I was going to ask you. Like, is starting with 4 rerolls and stuff standard for Amazons? Like, I look at Amazons and I see so much dodge and so much blodge, and it makes me think that they have so much like built-in consistency that maybe you could get away with just having 3 rerolls and maybe starting with a few more positionals. What do you think of that?
Yeah, I do agree. I moved up to 14 rerolls and found when I wasn't having a shocking game that the 3 was enough. And if he did drop down to 3 team rolls, he would have had another 50k, which then allows him to grab a thrower. And he would be then at a full 1000 team value, I believe.
Right, yeah, that makes sense. No, there isn't really anything else we can say about the team or the coach, apart from a welcome, I guess.
Yeah, it looks like he's gone with a foresty-based theme, which is good to see. It's really good when all the new coaches come along with a themed team and spend the time to name all their line women or men, or whatever it might be. I imagine he's gone for Amazon being a forest and or a region, and decided to look at more foresty regions around the world.
Yeah, so we've had a look at the two teams. Now, the matchup. For me, I think I've got to go with the Amazons on this one, purely because, low TV for me seems to be the time when Amazons are more consistent than, the teams that they're going to be playing against. He's got more block, he's got, dodge on everything, and the Necromantic team doesn't have any tackle or anything at all because it's their very first game. So I think that I have to kind of, being an elf coach, I have to trust in Blodge. And, I think that I have to give the slight advantage in the matchup to Sodai Senlin, as long as, they don't just start rolling powers all over the place. Or as long as the Necro team doesn't start rolling powers all over the place. Yeah. What's your take?
Yeah, I just looking again at Julian's and thinking the strength 4 pieces stand firm may give the Amazon some trouble. I mean, the werewolf strength, the movement is also going to be a bit of a problem for Amazons by being only movement 6. To be honest, I wouldn't be surprised if this went to a draw. But if we had to pick teams on yeah. I have to. I mean, I'm leaning to the Amazons, but I do know that Julian's a great coach. But being that we don't know our new Amazon coach and how potentially fantastic of a coach he is, I guess based on teams alone and not coaches, I'd have to give it the edge to the Zons.
Yeah, okay. I will say that if I think that if Julian's going to get anything out of the game, he needs to try and manufacture some removals through kind of crowd surfs. He has the 2 frenzy wolves and things. He can kind of dominate the sideline control. So I do see a window with a way for him to, potentially turn it around. But I just think, the odds are initially so stacked in favor of the Amazons that, yeah.
Yeah, he'll have to use his whites to hit the non-blodge pieces and hope that the AV7 just falls apart like it did for me. So, yeah, honestly, I am expecting a draw, but if we have to pick a winner, I don't know. Can I sit on the fence for this one?
Only because it's the first week. And it's just the two of us. Kind
Fair
of
enough.
like, next week, or kind of next Tuesday or Wednesday, when we're reviewing all these games and looking towards next week, we'll hopefully have a third person on to kind of break any ties and things. So
I mean, it's a legitimate tipping strategy in the competition, right?
it is, yeah, choosing draws, although I guess I can give people some advice for that. I picked a load of draws in the first week of last season, and I lost a ton of points to the point that I was just like, nah, I'm never doing that again. Even if I'm just gonna pick someone to win. Even if I think it might be a draw, I'll just choose one and say that someone's gonna win, just because I think it's just more likely that there's gonna be a winner and a loser rather than a draw. But it's a tipping comp. You guys can all have your own strategies and things. That's just my advice. But the next game is Mean Green Death Machines versus the Shivering Salamanders.
Yeah, Mean Green Death Machine played by Coach Flint Lockwood as Orcs, as you might have been able to guess. And where's the other team? I'm blind, apparently. Shivering Salamanders, obviously Elizabeth, played by another new name, Dazrix.
Okay, so we'll look at the Mean Green Death Machines first. Do you want to take this one?
Sure. See, another new coach spending some time coming up with a theme. I do like it. Yeah, he's fit into 4 Blackhawks and 4 Blitzers. Only 2 linemen is going to be interesting, and the thrower. 3 team rerolls. You'll have to save for the Apo. What do you think of this one, Tomo?
Yeah, it's the question of the ever hotly debated Orc Thrower, isn't it?
It is.
He's chosen to include it for the 70k instead of maybe going with like a third lineman. Um, because of this, it means that he has to have, one of his positionals on the line. He can't just
Yep.
throw like 3 orc linemen, right across the LOS and, soak up damage like orc linemen do. He has to think about maybe putting a Black Orc on the line. And then once you put one Black Orc on the line, you start thinking, okay, why don't I put 2? And make it difficult for my opponent to actually get blocks and things. It can be a little bit of a dangerous slope going on there. I think that if you're min-max, I always say this about orc throwers. If you're min-maxing your team, you don't take one because you want as much efficiency out of your team for the TV that you've got as possible. But you only need to look at some of the really good orc teams that have done well in the Big O before. If you look at Bash Incorporated, you look at War Machine, you look at the Astro Orcs. All of these teams have had orc throwers at some point. In fact, I don't think XS had actually. Take that back. War Machine didn't. But both Bash Incorporated and the Astro Orcs had orc throwers on them. And they get some stats, and then all of a sudden they start looking like really good players. The problem is actually surviving with your team and doing well until you get those stats. And I think initially they just come with more problems than what's the word I'm looking for? They come with more problems than kind of benefits to their team.
Yeah, I mean, the big benefit of the thrower is not having to waste a reroll on picking that ball up. So I imagine it very much will pay itself off in the early stages, in particular, where skills are low. I imagine he's going to be scoring on that on the thrower as well. But yeah, it's a TV 1000 team, right? There's so many ways. I would say your roster has more ways to build a TV 1000 team than most others. So
Certainly.
he's gone for this one, and hopefully it works.
Yep, we'll see how it goes. Okay, so we're going to move on to Shivering Salamanders now, which is, as you mentioned, Dazrik's Lizards team. And has he actually changed this? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I think he has changed this since we looked at it.
No, there's still only 5 Saurus there.
Oh no, you're right. There are. There's only 5. Yeah, the fact that there's one at the bottom kind of threw me off.
Yeah, he needs to fix that.
A second there. Sorry, I just need to check something. Come on, computer, load up.
I think Dazrix might be the only coach in the league that might not have picked a theme, unless I'm missing something.
Yeah, I'm not really although I guess it could be, salamanders or dragons from different stories and things, but
yeah,
because they're not coming across as being very, or maybe they are lizardy names. But
yeah, I haven't spun up a lizard to man team for a while now, and I'm not sure what the randomized names are.
But just to cut in for a second, Crazy List, thanks so much for the follow, dude. Welcome to the channel. Back to this. So he's got 5 Saurus, 5 Skinks, and a Croxagore. He has 40k left over in the bank and 2 rerolls. I kind of feel like you need all 6 Saurus if you're going to start on Lizards. Your Saurus are really the ones that you build the team around. And, I know it's, really difficult at first to actually, they're all skillless, there's 1 in 9s potentials, like, everywhere, but you have to kind of take as many Saurus as you can and power through it. The Skinks, just good positioning, keep them protected so that they don't explode, but, you have to, for me, you just have to have all 6 Saurus and the Croxagore in order to have, maximize the amount of team power that you've got.
Yeah, I tend to agree, and I'm a little bit perplexed why you wouldn't go for the 4 Skinks and 6 Saurus and Crocs. Maybe you know something we don't.
Oh yeah, if it's a style choice or something, and he's got some kind of, got all his formations planned out in his head and everything beforehand, then yeah, great, show us what's up. But, I really think that, going with the 6 Saurus instead would have maybe been a better move.
Yeah, because he's got 40k in the bank now, so you get back 60 from dropping a skink, add 80, you've still got 20k in the bank. You're not giving up a reroll. Yeah. I personally kind of prefer not going for the Crocs at the beginning.
Right.
I feel like that the 3 rerolls with the Skinks is quite useful, and then picking up the Crocs early after that. And that's the other kind of typical build, is to not go for the Crocs early. You go full Saurus and 3 rerolls.
That's interesting, but I don't know, I can't help but think that the only benefit, like, the only reason you would play Lizards instead of something else is just their massive strength advantage. And, not really maximizing that strength advantage just feels a little bit strange to me.
Yeah, it's just the ever, argument of big guys and are they worth it? I mean, obviously the Crocs is one of the ones that are definitely on more of the yes, they're worth it side, which is why I would pick it up second if I didn't pick it up in the starting roster. And 6 strength 4 is still pretty big.
Yep. Okay. So the matchup, just to kind of review that, is Lizards versus
Box.
Orcs. For me, I think again, I always look at consistency when it comes to like 1K TV teams. And I think having 4 block on the blitzes is really going to carry kind of this Orc team through the matchup. I don't think
Yeah,
it's
I
as
agree.
clear cut as some of the other games that we've kind of looked at so far, because strength is just a huge advantage. The more 2 dice powers, so the more 2 dice blocks you can get, the better. But I think that the Orcs have got enough of a strength 4 to be able to kind of hold off the majority of the Saurus, and I think the block will just shine through.
Hmm. I've seen some crazy lizard bullshit recently,
Yeah.
and I think Dazrix is gonna pull off some skinky bullshit. I mean, he's still gonna have the strength advantage, and he may the Orc coach may have to spend a couple too many assists to break through that strength 4 and strength 5 on the Crocs, and then the lizards will just run circles around the rest of them.
Okay, so we're split then.
Yep.
As I mentioned, during the rest of the season, guys, we're gonna have like a third person here that can kind of, as long as they don't choose a draw, I guess, well, they'll split the difference and actually, we'll come to some kind of consensus.
Are we writing these down, Tommo?
Not this time, but I will in the future. Of course,
I'll try and remember for next week.
the next game we don't actually have to make a prediction on, because the results already come through and it's on the screen there. The Dystopian Dragons took a 2-1 win over the Continentals. So that was Dystopian Dragons.
That's Majestic versus Changelog.
Majestic's High Elves versus Changelog's Undead.
And look at the TV of the Majestic's team.
Yeah, we will. I'll load up Majestic's team first, actually, and I guess I'll take this one.
Yeah.
So Majestic, yeah, what he's got left anyway at this point is 2 blitzers, a thrower, lineman, 1 catch. Sorry, 2 blitzers, yeah, a thrower, 1 catcher, and all the rest linemen. He has 1 MNG and 2 players, that are mysteriously missing. I'm guessing one of them would be a catcher and another one is a lineman. It even looks like he might have had
2 deaths.
It looks like he might have even had 3 deaths, because he's only got 10. Although, I guess if he rolled a 1 on the winnings. Oh no, actually, he won this, did he not?
He did, and I'm not surprised that he won this. I think we had a chat on Tuesday and would have said Majestic would have won this. But yeah, he copped a dead catcher, a dead lineman, and an MNG lineman.
Say that again, sorry?
So he dead catcher,
Yeah.
dead lineman,
Yeah.
and the MNG.
Well, where's the rest of his... Oh, he must have bought an apple with his winnings.
I imagine the 2 deaths kind of pushed him into that choice.
Yeah, he must have had an apple, and the MVP must have gone to a dead player. That's talk about a costly victory. Like, every victory matters, and and it's not the end of the world, because high elf linemen are really good with movement 6, strength 3, ag 4, av 8. In fact, they're so good they're a positional on another team. But it still just feels bad. That's he's rebuilding after like game 1 straight away.
Yeah, he's going to be playing with loners for a few games. I mean, they're not cheap to replace. Was the catcher's a 90, so that's 2 games generally for it to get that kind of money. Another game if he's lucky. So if he's lucky and doesn't lose anymore, he might be back to full strength after 3 games, and I imagine he would have hoped to have a bench by that time.
Yeah, I'm just looking at the stats of the game now. So yeah, he had what, 9 armor breaks, which we had 2 deaths, whereas the Continentals had 12 armor breaks, and you know, it doesn't seem like they experienced any kind of. Well, we'll have a look. So yeah, the Continental sustained no casualties, no deaths, and 3 KOs, whereas the Dragons sustained 5 KOs, 3 casualties, and 2 deaths. So considering like the Subian Dragons sustained 27 blocks and the Continental sustained 24 blocks, that's a ridiculous amount of damage difference being done there.
Yeah, and Majestic changed out of Elven Union and moved up to AV8, and it looks like it didn't work for him.
Oh, definitely not. That's rough.
It is. Just have a quick look at the SPP on the Continentals. Obviously, we're going to look at him in a second. It's interesting to see what he got in the game. Yeah. Though all the casualties did come from hits by the look of it.
Apart from Belgium, obviously with the 3 SPP for a touchdown, but that's a lot of SPP for a loss.
Yeah, I was just curious if any of the casualties was from a foul and no SPP.
Alrighty. I guess we'll have a look at the team that technically lost the game, but certainly seemed to come out on everything other than the result. It was.
Yeah, I imagine he's not too unhappy with the result. Changelong was playing Goblins last season, and now he's rolled into a very strong low TV team. Some people seem to say that Undead are one of the strongest TV 1000 teams and a very newbie-friendly team. Not that Changelong is a new coach at all, but it looks like he's doing all right after no permanents. Got a bit of SPP around the place. Probably a little bit unlucky not to get a level. He's got the 2 mummies, 2 whites, 3 ghouls. I'm sure he'll be trying to protect all of those ghouls as they run around for him. Finishing up with 3 zombies and 2 skeletons, 3 team rerolls. Doesn't have to worry about an Apo. Yeah.
Yeah, one thing that sticks out to me straight away about this team is that you got all that 15 SPP, lots of it coming from blocks, and not a single SPP went to a Mighty Blow piece.
Yeah, that is interesting. Looks like, wow, he got a ghoul casualty and a zombie casualty. So
that wasn't using Mighty Blow to just hit on the AV8 and as if it was like AV7 or something. Like this is just natural hits doing damage, which just makes it even more insane.
Yeah, I imagine Majestic isn't too happy right now.
It won't be too sad. He won the game, but
yeah, but if put it this way, if it wasn't full season, you'd re-roll, wouldn't you? If it was a CCL, for example.
Oh, definitely. Of course, there is the Angel of Lilith rule, where if the admins think that your team is unplayable, they will let you reroll. But I don't think that's something that he would want to take.
No, he'll be fine. He'll just a little bit salty about the MVP, SPP gone missing, and I don't know. Hopefully he does better next round and rolls a 6 on the winnings.
Okay, so we've seen that matchup. We don't need to make predictions because it's already been gone. And our last match of the week is the Inevitably Dead against the Attune Guardians.
Yes. Attune Guardians winning my prize of the best themed team. We'll get to those guys last. They are Khemri, And what inevitably dead is Elven Union, your favourite, Tommo.
I guess I should take that then.
For sure.
So yeah, Elven Union team here, coached by Anteater Reborn. I've been spending the last couple of days looking at Anteater Reborn and going, where do I know your name from? Because, you haven't played in the Big O before. But, I was sure I'd seen you around somewhere. And, yeah, I've seen you in my stream chat before, apparently. It just clicked on me when I was looking through, my followers list the other day. I was like, oh, there you are. So, yeah, welcome to the Big O. We have an Elf Union team here with the same start that I always do on Elf Union, actually. It's with the 2 blitzers, 2 catchers, a thrower, and the rest all linemen. Going with 3 team rerolls instead of the other option, which would be 2 team rerolls and an apothecary. You aim to win your first game and try and get the money to get your apothecary. Yeah, it's all fairly standard. It can be a bit nerve-wracking in the first couple of games, because you're AV7 all over the place apart from your blitzes. You feel like, if a fly or a strong gust hit you, your players can start dying. But if you manage to make it through and get a little bit of consistency and really, play as if you're playing rule of 5 to protect the 5 positionals and gain some SPP on them, your 5 positionals there can really start to carry your team.
So, did you say he was a follower of your channel?
He is, yeah.
Maybe he's following your footsteps, Tommo. Maybe you got a fan coming up to get you.
I wouldn't go so far as say I've got fans at all. It's just. And most people, I still feel like most people that watch my stream are probably better at Blood Bowl than me. But yeah.
Oh, that's because we don't have big heads, mate. I can imagine, as you said, it's a bit nerve-wracking. We're playing early games AV7 until I imagine the very first thing he'll be wanting is the Apo.
Yeah.
He'll be hoping for, what's that, a 4 on the winnings if he wins at least, or a 3. I imagine it'll be an instant buy, and he'll be going into the next match with an Apo and be slightly less nervous about his AV7.
Yeah, totally. And you're not a fan, Nick. You're a rival. But looking through, especially, he's got to be nervous. I mean, he's kind of tempting Nuffle a little bit, I think, with all of these team names. Oh, sorry, player names.
Indeed.
It's like, are you sure that you want to name players after this?
But, yeah, I have to say this is probably my runner-up for the most well-named team in 4B.
It'll be interesting enough that there's actually 2 Spocks in this division, with the one from the Star Trek theme and the one on here. It could be. Hopefully, they try to kill each other. See who's the superior Spock.
It will be fun. I mean, we have seen 2 Spocks on screen at the same time, so this will be in a different format, and it will be fun to cast, and hopefully Spock hits Spock, or vice versa.
Alrighty, so his opponents, we said, were the Camry team, wasn't it?
Is he breaking spoilers rules by naming some of his characters in that team? Let's just gloss over that, shall we?
Nah.
Okay, the Attune Guardians. Another new coach in the Ultimo Bum. He's gone for all of his TGs, of course, a single Blitzer and 2 Throwers, followed up by 4 Skeletons and 3 rerolls, coming up with around TV 1000. I imagine he would have liked to be able to fit in his second Blitzer, but you might have to sacrifice a team roll for that. I'm not overly familiar with TV 1000 Camry. I know that Herringsword did very well in the Greenhorn, but the Ultimo Bum fantastic names, as you can see down the list here. I do love the team names that have, the player names that have got puns in them. So based on that reason alone, he's probably gonna win the entire 4B.
Yeah, you have the best names. You win 4B apparently. But talking about the setup, yeah, I think the only other setup I've seen is where you don't take any throw Ras at all, and then you just have a Blitz Ra in there, and then I think you can kind of. I'm trying to do the math in my head right now. So you'd have 140 back. 90 of that would go to yeah, 90 of that would go to your other Blitz Ra, and then you would have 80k left for skeletons and
Yeah,
rerolls.
it looks like the other option is, yeah, as you say, 4 Tomb Guardians, 2 Blitzras, and 5 Skeletons with the same 3 rerolls. But then picking up the ball is so hard for Camry. So I can see the reasoning for going for 2 Throw-Ras.
Oh, definitely. I think this
And
is definitely
you
the
only
more
get one
consistent.
Blitz, right?
That is true. Yeah.
So, although, of course, he'll be picking up the second Blitzer as his first purchase, I dare say.
Oh,
Unless,
absolutely.
of course, that lovely decay skill comes into play. I know Herringzord lost to Tomb Guardian during the Greenhorn. They do die.
Yeah, it can be pretty rough to start, but once they start getting some skills on those Tomb Guardians and things, it's just so scary to play against Camry. It's strength everywhere, isn't it? There aren't many teams that can bully a Camry team, I don't think.
No, I think the general tactic is to just sacrifice some people to locking down those Tomb Guardians and attempting to run around them with the positionals that matter.
So, while we're talking about running around them with positionals, how do you think the matchup's going to go then? Elf Union versus Camry?
It might come down to who wins the toss. Because maybe 7 once again. I'm sticking with the Toon Guardians. Their names are just going to carry them through.
Okay, yeah. I'm a little bit biased. I'm an Elf Union coach at the minute, so yeah, I would more go for the Elf Union team here. I just think they've got more about them, 1K TV than what the Camry does, and with the speed of the Elf Union positionals, I think that they'd be able to move the ball around a little bit much, and on defense, kind of draw the Tomb Guardians out of position until there's a gap or something in the cage or an opportunity to kind of strike at the ball.
Yeah, as long as he reduces any potential blocks on his players, once again, if he doesn't roll ones on his dodges out, you're probably right. But look at these names: Scarab's Bunny, the Tomb Runner. I love it. Mickey Mausoleum, Donald Dead. Just 10 out of 10, Ultimo. 10 out of 10. So we split on this one?
Yeah, I think we are. So,
Cool, no.
I think you've mentioned that just looking at the season overall now, trying to predict our top 2 or whatever, there'll be 2 promotion spots with only one team going to playoffs from this division.
Yeah, I did notice that they announced that the lettered divisions, so to speak, are only getting 1 this season. There are a lot of lettered divisions. Actually, is that right? I know the Rails and G-Mans are only getting 1, but I think we might be getting 2.
I'm pretty sure we'll only get 1.
I think.
But
Right.
yeah. So you sticking with your the Attune Guardians going to be taking up the
You
entire
know,
season? Or?
sure. I mean, it's TV 1000. Anything can happen. Majestic is a fantastic coach. We've seen that before. But look, he's already lost two players. And that's what happens. And we're trying to ignore that. Then yeah, I'll just go on the best named team players and team. So it goes to Toon Guardians.
All right, cool. For me, I think that I can't really look past Sigmund and his Chaos Dwarfs. I just think like the consistency that he has in his team means that he's never really going to be weak. And whereas some of the other teams are quite slow starters, I think the Chaos have got what it takes just to be strong runners from start to finish.
Yeah.
If I had to pick a second, if Majestic hadn't suffered so many losses in his first game, I'd be tempted to say him. But because he has,
But you can't. We've got spoilers now.
but hmm,
I'm pretty sure we would get. Look. Fan favorite is Toon Guardians. But you're probably right in saying that Zygmunt and more than likely Majestic will be fighting for the top two positions.
all right, go on then. I'll stick with Majestic then as my other one, purely because it's kind of easy to say he's already 1/10 of the way there. So yeah, in fact, no, even better than that.
He,
There's 10 teams. He's a ninth of the way there. So
he's on
yeah,
top. Check the leaderboard.
yeah,
He's going to win.
he's top of the league right now.
Yep.
Majestic's gonna win the league.
And he'll be getting a wizard or something next game, and high odds with wizards, right?
Oh, definitely.
Yeah.
So, is there anything else you want to be saying about any of these teams at all?
No, I think that we both covered it quite well, and we don't want to draw it out to a 3-hour recap, do we?
A 3 hour preview. To be fair, like I said, we don't have long stories and things to tell about the teams. All the Division 1 teams. There's some of them that have been up there for this will be like their 5th season, which is just it's such a long time. They've got such long stories to tell that you can talk about them for hours, whereas these ones really not so much. But I've got a few
Yeah.
announcements about the league. If you don't have anything to say about the teams,
No, I'm happy to listen to your announcements, Tommy.
I've one thing I really want to be doing that I've been saying on like every single preview so far is I want to have a calendar with all the games up. So guys, please, when you're scheduling your games, kind of post on the scheduling thread on Reddit when your game's going to be. If you want to have your games cast, you can learn stuff from casting. You can shine a light. Just have your own little time in the spotlight. It's so much easier for us to give it to you if we know when you're playing. And the best way to tell us when you're playing is to make sure you're posting on the Reddit scheduling thread so I can add it to our calendar. And I'm sure the
On,
admins say, blah, 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 blah. If there's any disputes, you have to post on the thread, blah, 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 blah. So, yeah, there's that too.
on that note, Morka and I have just agreed on a time for our first attempt for tomorrow night. So I will be posting that on the Reddit League post for you, Tomo.
Awesome. Yeah, there's a lot of games going on tomorrow, from what I understand. It's going to be a big day of games for the Big O, I think.
Yeah, and if there are too many going on, I might pop my streaming cherry and stream my own game with Morka if there isn't somebody else to stream it.
Oh, like, me and Crusader, when we're casting, we don't like to step on people's toes and things. So, yeah, if you're going to stream your own game, yeah, do it. The best way to grow your channel and stuff is to actually do the streaming, so.
Yeah, Morka and I played a clan match a few weeks ago, and we jumped into Discord and had a chat the whole time. So I wouldn't be surprised if he's happy to basically do dual cast and play at the same time.
Yeah, Mark is a great guy to play against. Yeah, for that. Nick, will the calendar be public? I'm gonna make it start looking at it like tomorrow morning. So yes, after I've made it, if there's if there's enough teams actually saying when their games are, I'll make the calendar and I'll make sure there's a link to it. Sticky in the Big O scheduling thread on our Discord. Because now that I'm a head sports reporter, I can actually pin things and do other cool stuff on Discord, which is good. So I think that's us done here. Just want to thank you, Synergy, for coming on. You know, we're going to be doing these all season. Is there any kind of shout outs or things you want to do at the end of this thing? Maybe plug your own Twitch channel and stuff?
Not yet. It's not quite ready to go. Hopefully, I've been okay as my first little co-casting with you.
Oh.
I don't know what the chat thinks. They've been a little bit quiet.
It's the 4B, isn't it? So, I'm sure the new guys, hopefully the new guys will see this. I'll be posting it on Reddit and, they'll start getting involved. And yeah,
I'm really looking forward to the season and seeing how these guys come along as well.
Yeah, and to the guys that are here in chat, thanks very much for watching. I think we're going to aim to do this every Tuesday or Wednesday. Probably Wednesday, right? Okay, before the reroll.
I think just before the reroll, I know that I'm generally available at that time, and as long as there isn't somebody casting for us taking our time slot, it's fine. We'll do it.
Yeah, I think we're hoping to slot in right after Papa's done Div 1. So as long as, Papa and James don't go for like 3 hours every single week, I think we'll be able to make that time slot there.
Yeah, even 2 hours, we should be able to slot it in. It's fine.
But yeah, once again, guys, thanks for watching. Everyone, get out, get playing your games, get posting on the scheduling thread, and let's make Season 8 the best Big O season yet.
Thanks, Tommo. It's been good, and we'll be seeing you next week.
Yep, I'll be seeing you next week, and see everyone else. Bye-bye.
Bye, everybody.
Okay, cool.